Welcome to Martini Time. I've had a little sabbatical here, but I've heard the call of the Martini. I don't know if it's the call of the gin or the call of the talk. I haven't had a martini since I stopped giving my talk, and I have reduced it to half size. So this is a shot of gin and a little bit of vermouth. And I was drinking a Tommy size martini, which was 2 shots of gin, which was right to the top. Anyway, my legs were getting a little numb when I finished it. And I was spending too much money on gin, so I stopped and I cut back. But anyway, here's to Martini Time, and no guarantees on how far it'll go, how long it'll go. But I'm back for tonight. So, oh, that's good. I missed that. And I've got my father's watch rather. See, it's backwards because I'm on a face here. So I wind it up and set it at 5 o'clock. So whenever I give the talk, it's always 5 o'clock. That way I can say Martini Time at 5, and it'll always be at 5 o'clock. So I put this here so I don't talk too long. So I've had this weekend I've had another thing I wanted to share with you is that I've discovered Anthony Bourdain, and I didn't even know he existed until he died. That's the way it goes. So I've been watching his talks, and so I've been kind of inspired by that. Not that I want to kill myself, but but I've been inspired by his lust for adventure and new tastes, and he's always more. But I don't go anywhere. I live here in Blackstone, Virginia, a small town. It's a big deal if I go to Richmond. Most of my journeys are to Walmart, about 4 blocks away, and so I don't go anywhere. But I have a rich internal adventure, you see. I don't go out looking for new experiences and tastes. I go inward looking for discoveries into the mysteries of my life, which is your life, you see. It's all one life, and it's all mysterious. It's all an adventure. And the American way, the Western way, has always been to adventure out into form, the explorers, to explore, you see. So Anthony Bourdain is kind of like a modern explorer. And he's just ravishing up new tastes and the joy of the discovery and the sharing. So I wanted to bring that a little bit to Martini Time, given that I don't go anywhere. And so this weekend I had a real trifecta of experience, of adventures. And because Saturday night we went to Richmond to a big graduation at the Siegel Center of a great nephew. And the poem I wrote, well, one sentence poem. What captured it up for me was I wrote this morning, or maybe yesterday. But I think if I can recall it, I said, a mercury ball of souls was hit by the hammer of graduation, and balls of light were scattered to parts unknown. And I thought that kind of captured the graduation when, after the young people, young women and young men and women were gathering for the last time in one ball, and the graduation comes down, wham! And now they go out into a life unknown, into the adventures of their life, perhaps never to see each other again. Some stay, most go. Who knows? It's all an adventure, you see. So here we are, you and me, little balls of light on our adventure, still traveling at the edge of the unknown. You know, the earth is an expanding universe, and each one of us is an expanding universe, unless we become a conservative. Joke. So we're all expanding, you see. So we have to give in to that joy. We have to surrender to that expansion. And the discovery does not have to be externally in the world, going places, going to new places, in form, it is most wonderful when you don't have to go anywhere and you can go within. So I titled this talk, The Zen of Gwar. So let me talk about my trifecta. Well, graduation was the first. This is funny. So the big graduation, my wife gets all dressed up, because that's her way, and she made me get dressed up. So we go there, and the graduate's father, he's there in shorts and sandals. See. Anyway, it took an hour to get there. It took a half hour to get a parking place. It took us 20 minutes to get into the building, and then there was a 2-hour show of people we didn't know, and then we finally found the graduate that we knew, shook his hand, gave him a present, and went home. So anyway, it was a great evening. I got one poem, one metaphor out of it, the ball of souls. So what happened yesterday was Father's Day. And so my son, who lives in Chesterfield, is married, and he took us to a surprise. And and we didn't know where we were going. And it took a half hour to get to where we were going, and that was in Chesterfield in Richmond. And we went to the slum down there near the VCU, and graffiti all over the walls of the buildings there, and run down, some built up, some down, and we didn't know where we were. And there we were at this Gwar bar. And, what is a Gwar bar? Well, my son knew, and he wanted to take us there. He's always been a, let's say fan, but he's always been involved in he's a guitar player, and with long hair, and he's always been into monsters and X-Men and graphic art and all of that stuff. That's where he's lived, and I've never really been able to go into that world with him. So anyway, he invited me in. He invited me to a Gwar bar. Now a Gwar bar, what's a Gwar? Well, a Gwar apparently is a band that's been maybe since the late 80s, I don't know, but they're kind of like a story. And they seem to be, I don't know much, they seem to be aliens. They're all dressed up in monster clothes, and they play music, and then at the show, kind of like somebody a human being comes up with a tall head, and they cut his head off, and they have fake blood, and it squirts out over the people, and everybody laps it up. I thought that was wonderful. And you go in the Gwar bar, there's a restaurant, and the menu comes in looks like new ways of cooking roadkill. I don't know what. And all of them were original recipes and original names, and it was great. And you have you have decapitated heads hanging from the ceiling, like headhunters live there, and so it was great. And I really had the greatest time with my son, and we really connected there. And I saw so much in Gwar, and I saw so much in the heavy metal and the rock and roll and the creative spurting of rock and roll. It's kind of like the death of civilization. It's kind of like you cut off the civilized man, and rock and roll spurts out. You decapitate the politically correct adult who conforms to society, the PC man, and you cut his head off, and blood spurts out, and it's a human sacrifice. It's a human sacrifice. I mean, our society is full of human sacrifice, but we don't realize it. I mean, look at our religion. You hang a man on a God man on a stick, and then eat his blood and his flesh. Wow. Well, how's that any different from Gwar? So all of this. There's the liberation of death. The Grateful Dead. We're all dead, so there's nothing to lose. Let's have a party. Yeah, it's that kind of thing. We're all scrunched up because it's a fear of death. Oh my God, And fear of death. Death is not just physical death. Death is not just physical death. It's the fear of loss. The fear of letting go. The fear of the end of time. Now, what is time? It's thinking. You know, if you're not really thinking about anything, there's no time. Suddenly you say, oh, what time is it? That's a thought. What time is it? You say, what time is it? Oh, well, I'll look at that. All right, it's 10 after 5. I've been talking for 10 minutes. Wow, am I talking to you? Do I have enough left to say? Have I said enough? Have I been saying it okay? Are you amused? Are you turning off? Are you hating me? Are you liking me? Should I talk more? Should I talk less? Should I have prepared? Oh, maybe should I keep going? You see what I mean? You get, oh my God, wow, 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 wow. You get in a tape feedback loop, you know? So when you're dead, no feedback loop, you're free. You can do what you want. You're the Grateful Dead, you see. So the fear of death is constricting our society. Look at Anthony Bourdain. He goes to these other cultures, and they kill the chicken right there at the restaurant. Or they take the lobster or the fish live there, you know, or they hang it up. They hang all the animals up on hooks. And you go, oh, there's a lamb, there's a sheep, still got his head on. Yeah, I'll have some of that, you see. And they may serve you the head. When have you ever gotten a boar's head in an American restaurant? When have you ever eaten a chicken head? You see what I mean? We don't like the whole animal cooked. We like it all cut up in chops and steaks, you see. We like it in parts. We don't like the whole. We don't want the whole hog. We don't want the whole steer. We don't want the whole lamb, you see. Remember in Asia, in the Middle Ages, they had a big banquet. What did they bring in? They brought the whole hog. The whole pig came in with an apple in its mouth. You got the whole pig. You ate that whole sucker right there. You ate the whole pig. You ate the whole of life. That's Anthony Bourdain. He eats the whole of life, you see. He doesn't eat it piecemeal. He doesn't eat it with a comparing mind. He doesn't eat, this is not as good as I had over there. I've never heard him, and I watch a couple of nights, as I'm catching up. Never heard him say, oh, this stuff isn't as good as I had on the last show. Never. No comparing mind. A comparing mind is a dead mind. A comparing mind is a dead mind because it can't embrace, it can't eat what is given. It can't eat life as it's given, you see. It has to parse it and divide it and with the fork and pull it aside. Oh, I'll take that bite. Oh, I don't want that bite, you see. And oh, that's not as, oh, I don't want that. Ooh, ooh, that looks like a worm. Oh, squeamish. Ooh, you see. But the life, you see, just eats life. Life eats life to live. Life eats life, period. You see, that people that don't like that become vegetarians. But that doesn't solve anything. You're still eating life. You can't live on mud. And you might kill a worm. Then what? So, so we're looking at the Zen of Gwar, which really is kind of like looking at our society, and watching Anthony Bourdain has really helped me get an insight into this squeamishness, this fear of death in our society. It's very organized. You look at the Asian countries, the other countries, and the traffic is like blah, 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 all over. And here it's all whoop, 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 whoop. It's like an army. I mean, it's like it's organized. It's controlled. Nobody dares get out of line, you see. If one person gets out of line, what? He's out of line, you see. Asian, other cultures, just blah, blah, ants, blah, 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 all over the place, you see. And they don't seem to hit each other. But we are very organized, it's controlled. And control comes from a fear of death. Fear of death and control are the same thing, you see. Because when We control because we don't want any surprises. And if we don't want any surprises, we don't want life, because life is a surprise. So that's what Anthony Bourdain is teaching me. He's in for a surprise. He's always looking for a surprise. He goes for the surprise. He goes for the new taste. He goes for something different, you see. And he just laps it up. And so I leave that. Well, let me see what the trifecta. That was the Zen of Gwar. And then today was my 58th anniversary. So all of a sudden, wow, 58 years. Okay. So anyway, briefly, I'm a failure. Got married in 1960 at Blackstone, and failed at the marriage and got divorced in 1975, I think. And failed at divorce and got remarried in 1978. And then that marriage is held. So I'm very grateful for my failures, because I have a wonderful wife that stuck with me and that has somehow managed to survive with my wanderings, my thirst for adventure, which often left her behind, or she didn't understand, or it was internal and she was external and I was internal, or whatever. But she stuck with me, and we now have a mature love. I described it this morning on my post. Marriage comes in 3 stages. The first is infancy, and then everything about your partner is wonderful when it begins, and then it moves into adulthood, and then your partner has problems. You got problems. And then the third stage is the mature stage, when your partner is wonderful again. But basically what you have done is accept the dark side of your partner, the negative side, the quirks, the unconscious patterns, and the conscious, the light and the dark, all of the shades and shadows of the moon, and the marriage becomes a full moon. So it starts out as a full moon, then it breaks up into slices of the moon, shadows and grays and opposites, and in and out, and going and coming, and irritation and struggle and strife. Usually to find the full moon of the past. Why can't you be like when we first got married? Why can't you be romantic like we were then, you see? Why can't you be whole like you were then? Why are we all divided now, you see? And then the marriage matures. And it becomes full again. It becomes full again. And that's a beautiful thing. Not dramatic, not up and down, just okay. Just at ease. At ease being with the other person. No drama. No drama, you see. So thanks for dropping in, and I'll see you tomorrow night, if there is another tomorrow night. Good night.